Hello and how are you? Hey friends, welcome to the Shin Show. I am your host, Shenandoah Frisco, coming to you from right here in St. Charles, Missouri. Hey, this here is Sunday, October 14th, 2018, making this feed blog number 2424. I got a happy friend anniversary going out to Heather Elizabeth Lynn Adams-Farrar. And one going out to Doug Poindexter. So happy friend anniversary to you, Heather and Doug. And it's been a little. They say it's only been 3 years, but I know it's been a bit longer than that. Maybe quite a few years longer than that, as far as Doug's concerned. Anyway, let me see here. What's going on? What is going on in St. Charles today? Food truck event. That's coming up. A couple of days here, October 16th. Don't forget to get down to Frontier Park in the 500 block of South Riverside Drive. You catch the food truck event. That's right, food truck event is going to be occurring from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. 500 South Riverside Drive. Yep, join us in Frontier Park for this food truck event. Enjoy live entertainment as you indulge in a variety of delicious food options that will be available by several different food truck vendors. Bring your family and friends for a relaxing evening in the park. Please keep in mind some of these trucks are cash only, so that means bring cash and a pistol to protect it with. In addition, it's recommended that you bring your own lawn chairs or blankets. Alrighty then, what else we got going on? Celebration Day, that's right. Missouri Celebration Day, is going to be located at that's October 17th. Oh, blah, 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 blah. October 17th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Missouri State Capitol's First Missouri State Capitol Historical Site. That's at 200 North Main. And just remember this, Missouri has served as a gateway between the East and the West for hundreds of years. Over time, travelers from all over the world have passed through and settled in Missouri. From the French architecture in St. Genevieve to the Bosnian restaurants in St. Louis, Missouri's history is a patchwork quilt of ethnic identities. Join us at the historic site on Missouri Day to celebrate the diverse cultures that make Missouri diverse cultures that make Missouri. There will be food, music, dance, crafts, games, storytelling, and oral history, and more. This free event is open to the public. School groups are encouraged to make reservations by calling 636-940-3322. All right. What else we got going on? All right, I believe I can fly. Legends and Lanterns are going to be starting on the 20th, I do believe. Yes, October 20th, Legends and Lanterns. So don't forget to be prepared for that. That'll be a good old time. Ghosts, goblins, people of all ne'er-do-wells, and/or legends of the past. Sorry about that. Throat was getting mighty dry. Legends of the past. Ghosts and goblins right out of the Grimm's fairy tale stories. and ghosts of our local area here. Plus ghost walks with a navigator who will tell you all about the legendary ghosts of St. Charles, and Halloween rides, hay rides back into the past. Especially, this is a Halloween celebration from the 1910s to the 1930s. Bring your little goblins and ghouls and dress them for candy. Alrighty then. I think that's about enough for us. I'm going to do something, doing so today is Sunday. I am going to talk a little bit about God. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my story. Well, I was born a poor black child. No, that's a different movie altogether. No, I'll tell you this. Well, I was born and raised here in St. Charles, Missouri. I went through the Navy, spent a little time there, ended up being discharged from the Navy due to medical issues. And when I was released from the Navy, I became a jack of all trades, decided that I could do almost anything that I turned my hand to. And well, I did. I went from sprinkler system installing to laying carpet to hanging drywall to doing a little bit of plumbing here and there, um, uh, framing, puddling, concrete, uh, just about anything. Mechanic, auto mechanic, machine shop, parts finishers, all kinds of different, almost everything in a machine shop that you could mention, except for welding. I wanted to do welding, was getting ready to do welding, and I had an automobile accident. Yes, back in January 6th of 95, as a matter of fact. I had my automobile accident, which left me paralyzed. But it was a godsend the way it happened, because, well, I had just started working at a new machine shop called Brinkman. Is that what it was called? Brinkman? Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm having a little issues with my tissues. Anyway, I started working at the machine shop, and I hadn't been working there too awful long, uh, but long enough. Let's put it that way. When I was headed home from work, on my way home, I hit a patch of ice. It was the first snowstorm of the season, and well, I just decided that I should just go ahead and work my way on home. And I was working my way home. First off, knowing myself, I went over to the Walmart parking lot. See, my Brinkman was located down in Warrenton, Missouri. And so I was over in the parking lot at Walmart in Warrenton, playing around, sliding around probably, getting used to my car just to make sure that I knew exactly how it was going to handle in the snow. Because, well, hey, if you don't know how your car is going to handle in the snow when you're driving in a big empty parking lot, how do you think you're going to be able to handle it in case of an emergency on the road? And, well, on the road, this is the first snow of the season, mind you. On the road, I'm working my way back towards the home I was living in at the time, which was a good friend of mine's home. And anyway, I got about 6 miles, I guess, from work, and I slid around a corner. And this is the way the story goes. I slid around the corner. I went into their lane, back out of their lane, and went into their lane again. And before I could get back out of their lane, I broadsided the front of a Quiver River Electric Company truck, which they claim had pulled over. And when I broadsided the front of this truck, there's no way possible that we were not both moving, for one thing, because my car was torn into three pieces. Yes, it was the Pinto version of the Mustang. It was a Mustang 2, 1982 Mustang 2 for that matter. Anyway, it was torn into three pieces, and those pieces are not in the best of shape. Oh no. But anyway, two of the pieces were still on the road, and the third piece was out in the field somewhere. Now, the ambulance district that showed up, first off, they had to argue between Lincoln County, sorry about that, between Lincoln County and Warren County to decide whose territory I was laying in, because I was right on the line. So it took 2 hours for the ambulance to show up. Finally, they did. And when they did, well, they collected me up in their thing. But at first, they took the statements of the drivers for the Quiver River Electric Company truck and or his witness that was following behind him that said he saw everything that had happened in front of that truck. Now, the area I was in, there is no way possible for the guy to have seen what was going on in front of that truck. Either the guy would have been following too closely to the truck in front of him, or he would have been behind him too far, because he would have been coming up a hill. He wouldn't be able to see what was going on above the hill. So there was no way that the guy could see what was going on in front of that truck. So, that being said, enough of that. I should quit that. That's just blaming, that's blaming someone else for the situation. The situation is God pulled me out of my car. That's right. I had quit wearing seatbelts years and years ago, although the law said that I should be wearing my seatbelt. Had I been wearing my seatbelt, I would not be here to talk to you today. Yes, sir. I was pulled out of the car by the hands of angels, and they laid me gently on the ground over about 32 feet away from the car. Now, of course, I did smack my forehead pretty good, and when I did, I ended up with a spinal cord injury, which was a crushed vertebrae, the third vertebrae down from the top knot. So, which would have been the second vertebrae down from the top knot, which would have been my third vertebrae. Now, usually it's about 8 dimes stacked on top of each other. Well, it got squashed flat like a quarter and broke into 8 pieces, and 3 of those pieces slid down my spinal canal and bruised my spinal cord, which has left me in this position. Now, just a few years ago, it was worse. They say for every 7 years, your spinal cord will heal 1 millimeter. A bruise in your spinal cord will heal 1 millimeter. Well, it's been 23 years now. It's almost 23 years. Tomorrow is my birthday, so it'll be 23 years tomorrow. Well, I guess it would be 23 years already, because January has already passed. So, sorry. Having trouble getting to water. Come here, water. So anyway, as I was saying, I was guided out, and I was laid up on the ground, so that I only occurred one broken part of my body, which was that C3 vertebrae. Now, not only was that the first godsend that I wasn't wearing the seatbelt and that I was cast from the vehicle, which had I been left in the vehicle, I would not be here today to tell you this story. Second on the list was the fact that that job I was talking about, Binkley, down in Warrenton, well, you had to work at the company 90 days to become a full member of the union. Now, I never was up, remember, I never was up on union shops or anything like that because I was a fast worker and I like to work fast. And well, union workers don't really want to work fast. They want to make better money at a slower rate, which, hey, more power to you, you know. But I never could stand that, so I would just move from job to job to job within the shop because I would get finished with my first task and just move over to a different machine and learn that machine and do that job, which I loved because I always loved learning how to use more and different equipment. So anyway, you had to be in the union 90 or in the working place for 90 days before they would hire you on into the union. Just so happened that that was my 92nd day of employment. And so therefore, I picked up union insurance. Well, they covered 100% of my injuries in hospital for the first 8 weeks, 6 weeks, for the first 6 weeks, and then 80% of my hospital bills for the rest of my time that I needed it for about 3 years. Was it 3 years? 5 years, I believe. For 5 years until my COBRA kicked in. And then the state purchased COBRA, my Medicare Medicaid, because I went on unemployment. Well, I actually went on Social Security at the time. So after I went on to Social Security, the state picked up the COBRA payments because it was cheaper for them to pay the COBRA payments than it was the bills of my rehab and all of that stuff. So they did so. Anyway, after coming out of the after going to St. John's Mercy Medical, which is where they transported me, they first off transported me to I think it was Warrenton Hospital. And right after I went to Warrenton Hospital, then I was transferred out to St. John's Mercy Medical. And after I got to St. John's, I ended up doing my rehab there for the most part. You know, I'd done 3 months of rehab, and the union insurance covered every bit of it. Well, 80% for the most part. And then the nuns that were the billing deciders, billing collectors at St. John's, they decided that they would pay off the rest for me. So the other 20% that I didn't have, and they would never get, they covered. They paid that off. And so therefore I came out scot-free on the billing, the medical bills. So there was no medical bill left to me to have to worry about. And then after that, I went from there to a nursing home for about 5 weeks. That's 5 weeks out of my life that I really don't like to discuss and don't like to worry about because, well, that was the downtime. You know, you don't want to be in a nursing home when you're young. It's just not the place to be. And, well, if you get an opportunity to get out, then by golly, you take it. And, well, my mom and dad offered me that opportunity to get out. And so I went to live with my mom and dad for a little while. Got in touch with a group called Willow's Way. Now, Willow's Way, also at the time I got involved with the Delta Center, which is an independent living center, which is a plethora of information for those of you that are handicapped and or know anybody that's handicapped. So, if you know anybody that's handicapped, elderly, or whatever who would like to stay living independently, then what you want to do is contact the Delta Center for Independent Living. Matter of fact, I've got their number here somewhere. Hold on. Let me give you that number. Let's see, 636. Yes, okay. That phone number out at the Delta Center is, like I said, 636-926-8761. And they're located at 3837 Maclay Road, Sweet Tea, St. Peters, Missouri. That's right, Delta Center for Independent Living. They're great people. They've got it all. I'll tell you what they're about. I'll tell you a little bit about what they're about. That's what I'll do. What is an independent living center? What is an independent living center? Well, an independent living center is a nonprofit organization which assists seniors and people with disabilities who want to increase personal freedoms and live more independently. CLSs are managed and staffed by CILs, not CLSs, Centers for Independent Living, are managed and staffed by people with disabilities and are located in the communities they serve and assist people with all types of disabilities. So there you have it. That's what an independent living center is. All right, that being said, I was involved with them. I became a board member, became the president of the board, and then moved on in life onto something else. So after that occurred, and I ended up in Chicago doing a little bit of rehab out there. I have been being blessed all along by God. After I lost my insurance, by the time Cobra ran out, I had went to a meeting at a VFW hall, and I found out from there, by the grace of God, because I went to check on something else. I went to check on my educational background, my education, which I was supposed to get, but I hadn't been in the service long enough under the Montgomery Bill, which is the military bill that I went in under, educational bill, and government bill that I went under was the Montgomery Bill, which stated you had to be in the military for over 2 years. Well, like I said, I was put out of the military on a medical discharge with a less than 10% disability. And so, when I did come out, whenever I went to this meeting, there was a gentleman there that asked me why I wasn't going to my PVA representative to ask about my educational benefits. And I said, "What is a PVA representative?" He said, "That is a paralyzed veterans representative." And I said, "Well, what is a paralyzed veteran?" Well, I mean, he says anybody that served in the military and was put out under honorable conditions. And a medical discharge is an honorable condition. And so therefore, I was blessed again by the Lord because I went through the VA to get all my equipment. Everything that I have is paid for by the military, by the VA, and I can't ask for anything more than that. All my equipment, all my gloves, all my medications, everything except for my daytime caregivers. And so that's most of my story right there in the nutshell. Those are a few of the blessings that I have had from God. And the reason I am talking about that is because, well, hey, this is Sunday, and that's my story. And anyway, looks like it's about time for our portion of the program called Our Daily Bread. And today's devotion is called Ask the Animals. Oh, it's called Ask the Animals. And I guess you would ask the animals because, well, Noah asked the animals. And, well, we're going to go into my favorite story today, Job. Job 12:7 through 10, which I just can't get enough of Job. He had some hardships, he had some troubles, but he made it through. If there's ever an inspirational book in the Bible that you want to read, where you feel forsaken by God, where you feel that you're just being left behind, where you feel like you're being dumped on by the world, pick up the book of Job and start to read. Find your way all the way through it, because the book of Job is amazing. Anyway, if you're keeping up with your Bible in a year, you'll be reading Isaiah 43 through 44 and First Thessalonians 2. Alrighty then, Job 12, 7 through 10. But ask the animals, and they will teach you, or the birds in the sky, and they will tell you, or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, or let the fish in the sea inform you. Which of all these does not know? The hand of the Lord has done this. Which of these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every creature and the breath of all mankind. So there you have it. That there was Job 12:7 through 10. Ask the animals. Alrighty then. Hey, that looks like about it for me. So I'm going to have to say, well, goodbye, my friends. It's time to go. I said, goodbye, my friends. It's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must go. Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye. This here's been Shenandoah Briscoe saying hello and how are ya? Thanks for tuning in to the Shen Show. And as always, God loves you, and so do I. So be blessed in Jesus' name, and come back and see me tomorrow because, well, I'll be here, and I hope you are too.